In the run-up to May 22nd, this weekend, when we are getting Mandalorian and Grogu on the big screen, I'm reviewing all of the live-action Star Wars content. We're now at Return of the Jedi. Let's talk about it. Star Wars Episode 6, Return of the Jedi, also known as just Return of the Jedi when the movie first came out. Released in 1983, directed by Richard Marquand. Screenplay from Lawrence Kasdan and George Lucas. Obviously the sequel to The Empire Strikes Back. The film follows the ongoing struggle between the Galactic Empire and the Rebel Alliance as the Rebels attempt to destroy the Empire's second Death Star. Luke Skywalker tries to bring his father, Darth Vader, back from the dark side of the Force. The film stars Mark Hamill, Harrison Ford, Carrie Fisher, Billy Dee Williams, Anthony Daniels, David Prowse, Kenny Baker, Peter Mayhew, and Frank Oz. I think if it wasn't for the Ewoks in this movie, this film would probably be so much better. I think that's general consensus from movie fans and Star Wars fans alike. But the fact that they had to follow up Empire, they did a terrific job. Another Death Star though, not entirely convinced that that was the right decision. Same issue with Force Awakens with Starkiller Base. Like, we've seen this before, it's just not really that different. And there's still a flaw in this Death Star which doesn't really make all that much sense. Do you know what I do like though? Jabba's Palace. What an awesome segment of the film that takes up a lot of the runtime. From the droids arriving to them blowing up the barge, it's a massive piece of the movie. The amount of creatures are just absolutely crazy, like going on the same level that we got in the cantina in the original movie. Bib Fortuna creeped me out as a kid. But I love the language as well. Like, everyone speaks, all these creatures speak different languages, which is kind of rare in a film now. It's just, you seem like, even with the Mandalorian and Grogu, we know that Rotta, who is Jabba's son, speaks English, which is kind of weird. The Rancor is my favorite creature in Star Wars as a creature feature moment. Just excellent design. It's so ugly and savage, yet when it actually dies and gets impaled by the door, you feel sorry for it. At least I do. I don't know why. I think it's because I just love that creature. It's just such a cool design. Palpatine is physically back in this movie for the first time, technically in chronological order, since Episode 3. And what an amazing performance in this. Like, he's so creepy.
Soon will I rest. Yes. Forever sleep. Earned it I have.
Master Yoda, you can't die.
Strong am I with the Force, but not that strong.
They handle Yoda's death really well in this movie as well. You can certainly see what they tried to do with Luke's death in Last Jedi and trying to echo that in a way. But it works better here because he's old with time progression and the age of his character. There's some great lines like Twilight is upon me. Like, again, it just reinforces this mysterious force rather than the scientific sort of midichlorian explanation we had in the prequels. This is just more mystical, and the way he fades out, and it just, again, they don't really explain it. He just becomes one with the force, and there's nothing really known about why they just fade. If you know the expanded universe, there's a thing called Grey Jedi, and it's like a cross between the light and the dark, like a balanced Jedi. And I'd say that Luke feels more like a Grey Jedi in this movie because he is hooded and all in black at the beginning of the movie. He tells Jabba not to underestimate his powers, which is exactly what Anakin said to Obi-Wan in Episode 3. So this movie kind of leads you to believe, oh my god, like, he's turned to the dark side. And he's able to balance it both really well, and to me, yeah, he's just more of a Grey Jedi in this. You know, he fights Darth Vader with anger and then is able to pull himself back. You know, reconfirms his faith to the Jedi Order, throwing his lightsaber away, which was probably the dumbest thing. Like, you didn't need to do that, Luke. The Endor sequence with the speeders is cool, where we have Luke and Leia on a speeder chasing down the scout troops. And it's cool, but going at that speed makes zero sense in such a dense forest. Like, how they didn't just smack into a tree instantly. Warwick Davis, a young Warwick Davis, plays Wicket the Ewok, and I'm so torn on the Ewoks. I think they were fine until they got involved with the actual stormtroopers and were able to take them down with sticks and stones. But it's kind of dark as well. These Ewoks wanted to cook our heroes up until Luke use the Force on 3PO, convincing that he had magical powers, and they also see 3PO as this golden god, which is bizarre. Like, it's really strange moments in this movie with the Ewoks and C3PO and our heroes. But yeah, it's dark because they wanted to cook and eat them. Like, did they eat the stormtroopers inside the armor? Because at one point they're playing drums on the helmets, and where's the heads?
Your feeble skills are no match for the power of the dark side. You have paid the price for your lack of vision.
The Emperor Palpatine throne room scene is one of the greatest moments in Star Wars, not just for what we get, but the music. It's the music. It's so epic and haunting. The Blu-ray release kind of ruined things a little bit more than the special edition did, in that we get Darth Vader screaming no, like he does at the end of episode 3 when he picks up Palpatine. That doesn't need to be there, and I really hope that when we get the 4K cut, that's just gone when that original 4K cut, if that 4K cut gets released. We know that the first one's coming out. I assume they'll do the rest with the rest of the trilogy, and I hope they do drop it on Disney+, but who knows. Now, tonally, this movie is kind of all over the place, but there is a lot of darkness at the end of the movie when Luke is fighting Vader and going, confronting the Emperor. But the end is iconic, even though it's kind of cheesy with the Ewoks dancing and Wicket humping Han Solo's leg. It's just like so funny. But one of my favorite shots in this movie is when we see the 3 ghosts at the end. Now, obviously, in the Blu-ray release, they changed things up with Christian Haydenson's ghost appearing over the top instead of the original actor that had an Anakin ghost. Now, that's the one thing, like, when they do the 4K cut, I kind of hope they don't just change everything back. I know that's like a lot of people be like, no, we want the original cuts, but there are stuff in the special editions that do actually complement the movies and helps the movies a lot. And that ghost appearance there is one of them. To me, it's an absolute fix for it to have his ghost appear there instead of the original actor. And the celebration music is moving as well, and it just feels like a great ending. Like, yeah, I do love the sequels, but this is a good ending still. Like, the fact that we got more than that is kind of weird thinking about it. It's just like a perfect book ending. You know, the heroes save the day, and they're all, the final shot is them all together smiling and happy. The Ewoks essentially are partly a plot device to give the advantage to the heroes to be able to win, because without the Ewoks they wouldn't have won against the Empire. So there is that. But from the get-go, you feel like you're straight back in with the characters, and no time has passed between Empire and this. But they had to wait like 3 years to know what happens at the end of Empire to get this movie, and that must have been crazy. But this movie, to me, is absolute cinema. The whole original trilogy is absolute cinema. I had a blast watching these again. I watch through these every year in May for May the 4th weekend. It's just my thing now. I watch through everything as much as I can. And obviously every year we get more things added in. It'd be interesting to see if I like Mando and Grogu enough for it to become part of my annual watch. I don't normally do the TV series. I did the TV series purely for my review schedule. Normally it's just the mainline movies and the other movies as well, like the Star Wars story stuff. I do think Mandalorian and Grogu should have been Mandalorian and Grogu, a Star Wars story. But yeah, love these original trilogy movies so much. So much of my childhood spent watching them, and even to this day. Guys, what do you think of Return of the Jedi? Let me know down in the comment section below. It's very torn between fans of this. I think if you're a massive Star Wars fan, you love Return of the Jedi, but there are a lot of people out there that do not like this movie. So I'd be very interested to know if you're one of them. Were you there at Empire Strikes Back and having to wait 3 years for the next one? Let me know in the comments below what that was like. And I'll be back with my review for the Mandalorian series and the Book of Boba Fett before we watch Mandalorian and Grogu. See you guys with the next one. Take care of yourselves.